A dreamer for Bernie, today on The World. I'm Marco Werman. Some question Bernie Sanders' appeal to immigrant voters, but not this Latina. She's working for the Sanders campaign.
He's going to make sure that we stop the deportations, that we stop the raids, and that we keep families together.
Also, both Sanders and Donald Trump say they want to do away with free trade agreements like NAFTA, but that might be a bad idea.
We would put at risk a deep relationship we've developed with Mexico over 25 years.
Plus, a cartoon that depicts Malaysia's leader as an evil clown has gone viral. The artist has even been threatened by the government, but he's not afraid.
I don't tolerate this kind of bully tactics from the government. If they arrested me, it will grow bigger.
Those stories coming up today on The World. I'm Marco Werman, and this is The World. Glad you're with us today. Let's begin with the 2016 presidential election campaign. One thing we've been hearing a lot lately is that Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are not polling well with minorities, especially Latinos. But don't tell that to Erica Andiola. She runs Latino outreach for Bernie Sanders' campaign. And I just had to ask, how do you say feel the burn in Spanish? Does that translate?
Oh my God. Not really. And it sounds a little bit inappropriate, so we try not to say that. So we just say unidos con Bernie, united with Bernie in Spanish.
Okay, lost in translation. Erica Andiola's Twitter profile reads, proud, undocumented, and unafraid Mexican-American, organizer, and fighter. She came to the U.S. from Mexico when she was 11, started organizing around immigrant rights in 2008 when Arizona blocked in-state tuition for undocumented students like her. In 2013, she fought and won a legal battle to keep her mother and brother from being deported. Erica Andiola joins me now from Sanders headquarters in Brooklyn, New York. You've got a high-profile role in the Sanders campaign, Erica. What convinced you to join his team?
It's been several factors. I think one of them is definitely, as a dreamer and someone who's been fighting for immigrant rights, especially, the DREAM Act and DACA, what we have now, right? The ability to work as undocumented young people in the U.S. That fight wasn't easy, and I think it was a fight that was definitely something that they would tell us that, we couldn't win. We fought really hard, not just against Republicans, but also against the establishment of the Democratic Party. And I think for me, seeing Bernie and the way that he has been able to come through and say what he wants to say, right? And be so honest and so consistent throughout the years and wanting to change the system. We're not necessarily being governed by our people in the community, but rather by companies and, billionaires. And so, I think for me that's definitely something that's going to be able to change not only the broken immigration system that we live in right now, but, healthcare, education, and many other issues that our community cares about.
So let's talk about Bernie Sanders' approach to immigration. How does the way he talks about changing the system, what do you hear that contrasts with the way Hillary Clinton talks about it?
We saw that, unfortunately, when President Obama ran, he had this promise that he was going to pass immigration reform in the first 100 days of his presidency. Same promise that we hear right now from Hillary Clinton, right? And obviously we want immigration reform. We want a legislation that can change the lives of millions of undocumented immigrants in this country. But we also understand that, it was the wrong strategy. And I think Bernie and, we work with him. Two dreamers were able to work with him to come up with a platform that really puts families first, making sure that we stop deportations the first 100 days, that we stop the raids, and that we keep families together.
So you see broken promises on immigration with Obama. Are there splits within your own family when it comes to Sanders versus Clinton?
Absolutely not. My family has always been very supportive of what I do. And not only that, I think the more they hear about Bernie, the more they really like his proposals, not just on immigration, but on many other issues. And I think for me, the most interesting and amazing part of Bernie is that he draws so much support from the young people. Young people like my brother. My brother is 20 years old, and he was the very first person who spoke to me about Bernie Sanders, more than a year ago.
I was going to ask you about Latinos in general. Where is their support going?
Yeah, well, listen, we did have a disadvantage coming into this race. Bernie is the senator from Vermont. It is not a very diverse state, and we are going against one of the most famous women in the world. In Colorado, we were able to win the state by almost 20 points. It's a very diverse state, and there's absolutely no way in which somebody can win the state without Latino support.
That's Erica Andiola, who does Latino outreach for the Sanders campaign. That interview is part of